Let this be the end of dieting. As soon as you find out why diets don't work, it's not that you're broken, it's not that you lack willpower, it's that a diet actually puts you at odds with yourself. It creates an internal conflict that can't be resolved with control. This is one of the things that plagues us in our society all the time, is that we try to use the conscious mind, the tip of the iceberg, as Freud described it. We try to use the conscious mind to control the entire conscious, the unconscious, the rest of the iceberg. That's never going to work. What does work is to get into that unconscious, find out what's there in the programs that are running automatically, rewrite those programs, and all of a sudden, you don't have to have a diet anymore because you're actually living a lifestyle that's keeping your body in good health. Your mind, your body, your emotions, and your spirit, all in good health. So let's talk about how I know this a little bit, because I dieted for many years. I still remember when I was about 8 years old and someone suggested to me that I was going to have to watch my weight. What? Watch my weight. You know, you're getting chubby. You need to watch what you eat, getting chubby. And the message was clear that that was making me unacceptable, undesirable to people who, you know, loved me and I relied upon. So I thought, oh my gosh, you know, what does that mean? There must be something wrong with me. And so I would look around at all the naturally skinny people and I would think they had something that I didn't have. What I discovered later on was that that seed that got planted, that there was something wrong with me, actually would become the problem that I had to undo, or the problem that I had to resolve. So when we go on a diet and we say to ourselves, my intellectual mind is going to decide what happens in my body. Let's think about what's going on in our body. Our heart's beating, our skin making new cells, our hair growing, our digestion happening, you know, our lungs breathing, our immune system automatically fending off disease. All of these things are naturally happening inside our body, and we decide consciously, like, I'm going to take control over this. It's not going to work. However, what does work, oh, and actually there is the point of a war was declared on obesity. And since that war was declared, the number of obese people, certainly in America, has quadrupled, right? The diet industry is a very successful industry selling a solution that actually doesn't work. And why does it keep going? Because people have been convinced that they're the problem. As long as you think that your willpower is the problem, you'll keep trying the solution that's being offered to you. It's great for making money if you're selling diets. It's terrible if you're actually trying to be at peace in your body, to have health, vitality, to have the energy to do things that you love to do. So what we're going to do today is we're going to get ourselves into alignment with our bodies. We want our mind, our body, our soul, and our spirit to all be in the same boat, rowing in the same direction. We do not want to be at war with ourselves. This war on dieting, this war on obesity was actually a war between the intellect and the instincts. Never going to win. Instincts have been evolving their survival strategies, which we are largely unaware of for many generations, right? Ever since we humans appeared on the planet, and we adopted or adapted from even earlier survival instincts. So you're not going to win consciously over that experience. Even no matter what your willpower is, there's too much going on that you simply don't understand, that we can't understand on our unconscious mind. So I'm going to invite you to interview your experience, to switch our focus from the way we look or the way we think we look or how we think people see us to the truth of what's going on inside our experience, because that is where we can find out what is going on in the unconscious and what changes we need to make in order to resolve the struggle that we're having. So, we're going to ask ourselves, we're going to do an exercise, and we're going to ask ourselves, what on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being my dieting or my diet struggles, my body weight has become such a problem that I can barely get out of bed in the morning. That's a 1. To a 10, which is, oh, I completely understand why I struggled and I'm so grateful for what I was able to learn about myself. Where are you currently on that scale? This is your compass. It's a much different scale than the one in the bathroom that we're also afraid of, because this scale actually gives us really good information that we can use to improve our experience. And ultimately, it's our experience that matters. It's our experience that determines whether or not we're smiling or crying. All right, once you have that number, I want you to write down 3 things about dieting that are really hard. And then I want you to write down 3 things about dieting that you think you want. What is it that the diet's going to offer that you want? Write that down, circle it. This is your starting place. Now that we know where we are, we can interview the experience of that reality. Okay, so you're going to ask yourself, I think what? What is it that I think when I'm at this number? So let's say that your diet experience is currently at a 3. So you're going to say, when I am at a 3, which is what I am at right now, I think what? What are the thoughts that you're thinking? What are you thinking about your body? What are those thoughts? What are you feeling about your body and about yourself? Yeah, this is powerful stuff. What are you saying or doing to yourself and to others? What are you saying and doing to others related to this dieting experience? What are you sensing in your body? What do you feel? Mentally scan your body. Just put your attention in your body and scan through. Notice where there's any tension or resistance. When you think about dieting, when you focus on this dieting experience, what do you notice in your body? And finally, what do you know is true? What do you know about living at this experience? What is true for you? Okay, you've got your starting place, and I'm really applaud your courage to take the time to interview yourself, because so often we're afraid to know what's going on inside of ourselves, but the truth of what's going on is actually what we need in order to resolve it and move forward to a better experience. So without doing that, you just keep trying to problem solve, problem solve, problem solve, and it never works. What we need to do is actually find out what's at the roots of the problem so that we can resolve it. And what's at the roots is what's going on inside of our experience. That's how our conscious mind accesses what's going on with our unconscious mind. Okay, let's move on to where we're going. Where do you want your experience to be? I don't really like to use the word want, because I like to use the empowering words like choose. Where do you choose to take your experience? Where do you decide your experience is going? Much more powerful words. On that scale of 1 to 10, where are you going? Write that number down. By now you know I always recommend that you choose like a 7 or 8, something that's a good improvement in your experience, but you don't go for that 10, because as you move along, that 10 is going to get better and better. You're going to realize, wow, where I was living was pretty bad. How do I know? Because if you're struggling with dieting, your experience is not good. I know from personal experience. Okay, so now let's go on to interviewing ourselves about what that future experience that we've chosen is going to be. What will we be thinking? What will we be feeling? What will we be saying and doing to ourselves and to others? What will we be sensing in our bodies? What will be different? How will your body, your experience of being in your skin be different? And then finally, what will you know when you're at that number? What will you know about your body? What will you know about yourself? What will you know about life? What will you know? This is an intuitive exercise. Whatever pops into your head is perfect. Now, how do we do our journey? We've got where we're starting. We're saying, this is the truth of my experience right now. This is my experience of dieting. I want to resolve that so that I don't have to diet anymore, right? I want to get into an experience where my body and I are in alignment, when we're in agreement, when I decide that I want to eat food that nourishes my body and my body says, yeah, that sounds great, right? Or my body gives me a craving and I say, okay, let's look at this. This seems important. Why don't I eat what my body is craving? So we want to be in agreement with ourselves. To be at war with yourself is, you can't win. No matter if your intellect is winning at the moment, your body feels like it's losing. Your body's intelligence feels like it's losing. And if your body's intelligence is winning and making sure that you get lots and lots of food, then your intellect is losing. We can't have that scenario. So how do we move from the experience that you're having where you're at war to an experience where you're at peace? And we're going to ask ourselves a question. We're going to use our conscious mind to set the intention and then to ask questions of our unconscious that will allow us to get the answers. What's at the roots? So you're going to ask this really powerful question. What do I need to know or do to move from my current experience to the experience that I want to have? So when you ask yourself this question, what you're doing is using your conscious mind to interview your unconscious mind. The answer can come in any one of infinite ways. I've seen so much, experienced so much myself, seen so many different ways with people. But basically, pay attention to your dreams. Pay attention to the ideas that pop into your mind. You know when you can't think of a name and you try and it won't come to you, and then you say, oh, it'll come to me later? That's because your conscious mind doesn't have access to that information. Your unconscious mind does. We ask the question with our unconscious mind. The conscious mind delivers it. So you're going to be asking, you've asked the question, what do I need to know or do to make progress on this journey? And your unconscious mind will answer you in many ways. Thoughts can pop in, dreams can happen. Somebody might call you, a friend might call you and say, hey, I just saw this great book that you should read. For example, one of the best books I ever read was The Power of Your Subconscious Mind, which I read, I don't know, maybe 20 years ago, and it was life-changing. So pay attention to those clues. You might overhear people talking at the grocery store. Somebody saying, oh, I did this, and it just absolutely changed my life. Pay attention. Have your antenna open. Be in listening mode, because your unconscious will communicate with you. That's what it does. And your job is just to receive its wisdom. One of the things that makes dieting so confusing is that you hear people talking all the time about, oh, I did this diet and it changed my life, or I did this, this program and it changed my life. What they're not able to tell you, because they don't know, is that before they were able to follow some sort of program that worked for them, they had to have some sort of internal shift in their unconscious. We had to. It's the way we work. Something had to change in their unconscious. They had to start thinking about things differently. They had to feel differently. They had to say and do different things, right? They had to sense something different in their bodies, like hope, maybe. And they had to know something different. We actually have to change in our experience before we're able to do something different in the outside world. So that's why you'll see people saying, oh yeah, this diet worked for me. What they're not telling you is what changed inside that allowed that to happen. So you're going to find out doing this process, doing that for yourself. What is it that needs to shift in you for you to be able to live in alignment with your body, to live in harmony with your body, right? So that you're taking in the amount of food and nutrition that your body needs in order for you to live your full life, to live a life that you love. Not that you're trying to control your body, right? But that your body is actually in communication with you about what is needed. We don't know what we need for our hearts to beat. Our bodies know, right? We need to trust that intelligence and be in communication with it, be in alignment with it. Okay, if you enjoyed this video today, please like, share, and subscribe. Spread the word that we need to get into peace. We need to get into a state of peace. Stop battling everything where nobody can ever win and get into a win-win situation. For more support, come to masterfulyou.com. We will support your journey. We have all kinds of free resources. We also have programs, of course, and guidance. On Fridays, my dear friend Judy Forder and I do a Q&A session. So if you post comments below, we will answer those comments on our live show. That happens every Friday. And have I forgotten anything? I don't think so. Mostly, I just want to thank you for being you. And thank you for spending your precious time with me.